Hi loves, welcome back to my channel. It is Key, aka Natural Debutante, and today we're just going to be doing, as you can tell from the title, a deep condition with me. We're going to do a Q&A, but it's going to be a little bit different than a regular Q&A. So I asked my followers on Instagram to ask me questions, any questions, because I just feel like I want you guys to get to know me a little better. So I used those questions to come up with 10 things that you guys don't know about me. Questions will be answered within the 10 things that you guys don't know about me. So we're just gonna get started. I am going to be using the Mielle Organics Babassu and Mint Conditioner. This is one of my favorites. I just picked this up. I haven't used it in a while, so I was like, you know what? Let me go back to this, okay? And we waste no products over here, so you need to make sure when you have that protective cover, go ahead and scrape all that stuff right on in there, because this mess is not cheap. I went in there for one thing, came out spending $50. I was like, what happened? So I'm going to be referring to my phone a lot because I wrote down the 10 things in my phone. So we'll start with number 1. I read at least one book a week. So I read one book a week, and I think that knowledge, I don't think it's good to be stagnant in life. And so I just read a lot. I read a lot of books on mindfulness. I'm very big on mindfulness. If you follow me on Instagram, which you should, because I post a lot more on Instagram than I do on YouTube. But I post a lot of the books that I read. I just really feel like mindfulness helps you to have the correct mindset to do anything, to handle any situation. So I read a lot of books. My favorite book is probably The Power of Now. I absolutely love that book. It's so deep, but you have to read it more than once. I read it this year because I just graduated with my master's in December. And so then in January, I was like, oh my God, I can read for fun again. This is perfect. So I started reading, and that was one of the first books that I read, and absolutely fell in love with it. Just mindfulness in general. And I just feel better. I just feel better when I read those kinds of books. And my other book that I really like this year, it's probably going to be one of my favorites, is Jen Sincero's book, which is You Are a Badass. I have it right here. So it's You Are a Badass, How to Stop Doubting Yourself, How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life. That book is amazing. The way that she words things is so easy to read. It makes you want to continue reading. It makes you want to, it just keeps you so engaged that you continue to read and you don't even realize all of the information that she's giving you. And then at the end of the book, she has a bunch of resources from where she got her mindset from, such as The Power of Now, Think and Grow Rich, the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. It's just a lot about spirituality, but not necessarily religion. It just gives you the perfect mindset to deal with things. So yeah, I really, really like that book. It was very interesting to me. I read her other book, which is You Are a Badass at Making Money. And it just goes through how people are not taught how to deal with money, how to speak about money, and how it's so taboo, but people really want money. And it's really interesting, just having the mindset of if you want to attract money into your life, that's not a bad thing because you need money in order to live. But what do you want the money for? Are you just being selfish, or what is the reason for wanting that money? And by being able to identify those things, identify why you want the money, how much money you want, how you're going to get this money, then you're able to manifest that into your life. So yeah, I'm really big on those kinds of books. I really like them. If you have any books suggestions, let me know. I definitely read from my followers on Instagram. I've read a couple of the books that they've suggested for me, and they've been really good. So yeah, definitely would recommend reading. And just, even if you don't want to read a full book, read articles, pay attention to what's going on in the world, because it's just important for everybody to know, to not be ignorant. And granted, you're going to be ignorant to certain things, but it's cool to just at least try your best to not be completely ignorant, if that makes sense. So as you know, I'm very heavy-handed, so this is going to be really messy. My hair was washed and I put the DIY mix that I use on to let it sit for a little bit because my hair was so dry. I didn't do it all week. So let's go to the second question, the second one is, which is, I'm an only child. So I am an only child, which I don't know if that's weird or not. Like, I don't really pay attention to it. I know when I was younger, I really liked being an only child. Not so much now because a lot of people are, I don't know. I just feel like my friends and everybody were all like grown, living our lives, you know, and I don't expect people to like hang out with me as much as they used to. But it's hard sometimes when I feel like I'm just like by myself or whatever. But yeah, I'm an only child. I don't really think much of it, but yeah, I'm an only child. I don't really have much to say about it because I don't really know what's the difference of not being an only child. But yeah. The third thing is that I got engaged in May. So as some of you noticed on my Instagram, I did get engaged. I turned 30 whole years old, 30 years young in May. And my now fiance took me to Cuba because that was a place I had always wanted to go. And he proposed to me, which was amazing. It was so pretty. We went to this restaurant and he proposed. So it was really cool. It was overlooking all of like Old Havana, which was great. I had an amazing time. And I have no wedding plans as of right now. Yeah, I don't have any wedding plans. I plan on getting married eventually, like in a few years. But right now I'm just kind of trying to enjoy the engagement process. And yeah, so we'll see. So yes, you were correct. People who noticed and asked about engagements and plans and stuff. But no plans as of yet, so we'll see when that happens. I'm just trying to enjoy being engaged. So that was number 3. Number 4 is that I can speak fluent Spanish. Well, I don't consider myself fluent. Other people would probably consider me fluent. And the reason I do not consider myself fluent in Spanish is because I know that Spanish is spoken differently in different places. For example, Spanish from Mexico is different than Spanish from Spain, and Spanish from Spain is different than Spanish from Cuba, and it's just different. So I speak Spanish fluently to the point where I can definitely go to any Spanish-speaking country and not only have a conversation, but I would be perfectly fine. I'd be able to completely understand everything that's going on, but I don't know if I consider myself fluent, but I do speak Spanish. My major in college was Spanish, and I studied abroad in Spain for 6 months or so. I lived with the family, which was great because they speak very formal. Like, their Spanish is very formal, so it's easier for me to understand what other people are saying because the Spanish that I learned was so formal, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's that. The next one is that I meditate at least 4 days a week. I think a lot of people meditate. If you pray every day, that's a form of active meditation. I try to meditate for like 20 minutes a day, but it is a practice. So I'm not like the best, and my mind will drift and I have to like come back and focus on my breath because it's a practice. So I meditate at least 4 days a week. I don't know if that's interesting for people or not, but I love it. It helps keep me sane, and just like being able to like breathe and just be quiet and not think about stuff, or just accept things for the way they are as opposed to identifying something as good or bad. It just helps to keep me focused, happy, and in a mindful state. So I think mindfulness and meditation go hand in hand. A lot of reasons, or often I will read for about an hour or an hour and a half in the morning, and then I'll meditate for 20 or 30 minutes afterwards. And it just helps me to start my day really, really well. Like, it helps me to feel so, I don't know, free is the right word, like free and focused. Like, I feel ready to create. I feel like I'm ready to like contribute to society. I don't know, that probably sounds really crazy, but that's how I feel when I meditate. So I do meditate 4 days a week. So number 6 is that, again, if you watch my stories and stuff on YouTube or on Instagram, you would know this, but I love boxing and UFC. I've liked boxing since I can remember. Well, I like boxing because my dad likes boxing, like, to be honest. I watched boxing a lot when I was growing up, so I watched boxing with him a lot. He would go to the big fights and stuff, so I grew up watching him do that and sitting with him and watching these fights and learning about Muhammad Ali and stuff and Mike Tyson and comparing. And I'm a huge daddy's girl, so I was with him a lot. And yeah, so now I really enjoy boxing, and I've expanded into UFC. When I first started watching UFC though, like, I wasn't with it. Like, it was just too much. I was like, y'all are bleeding and stuff. Like, you clearly won. Do we have to, like, this is a cage street fight. This is way too much. But now there's like a lot more rules, and I feel like I can watch it. I really enjoy watching it. I don't have anybody that's my favorite, but I definitely enjoy watching. And if there is a fight, I'm most likely sitting on the couch in front of the TV watching the fight, and I don't care what anybody has to say. And I prefer you just don't bother me while I'm watching. Like, that's how I feel. I absolutely love watching the fights. They're so fun to me. Like, I will leave parties early. I don't care if it's like Christmas. Like, I gotta go because I'm going to watch the fight, and I don't want anybody coming over. I'm going to watch the fight, and that's that. So we're on number 7. 7. I live in Southern California. So I put that because, like, I'm sure most people know that I live, if you follow me again on Instagram, which you should just really be following me on Instagram because, one, I post great pictures, and just because I'd really appreciate it if you did it. So go ahead and follow me. Link in the description. And yeah, so I live in I'm from Southern California, born and raised. I consider my home Long Beach, but I also consider my home San Diego. So I'm a Southern California girl. Being too far from the beach is a problem for me. I love nice weather. The first time I went to snow was this year, so at 30 years old, that was my first time. And I don't even like going outside when it's raining. Like, if it's below 65, it's kind of like, why should I? Nothing much to say about that besides it is what it is. I love, love, love living in Southern California. Not saying that I would never live somewhere else, but why do I need to leave? So the next one which is number 8. I didn't start doing my own hair until I was 21 years old. So my grandmother owned a shop, and a lot of the women in my family worked in that shop. So my cousin, my grandmother, my aunts, like, a lot of the women in my family worked in the shop. So I never had to do my own hair. And I have another cousin that braids, so, like, I never really had to do my own hair, or I would know somebody that braids. So I didn't have to start doing my hair until I was 21, and that's because my hair started falling out when I went to college, and I came home, and my cousin was like, okay, you're gonna have to learn how to do your hair because you had such nice hair and now your hair is a mess, so we need to get this together. So that's when I started my natural hair journey. So I believe I was 22 when I started my natural hair journey. I was 21. It was December 2013. Yeah, I was 21. I think I was 21. Pretty sure I was 21. Yeah, so I thought that was really interesting. I never thought about it. So the next one is I have a dog, and his name is Money, and he is everything. He's a pit bull, a red-nosed pit, and he's my everything. I love Money. My fiance and I have him, and he's gorgeous, and or my dog, my fiance too, but my dog Money is everything. He is definitely very important to me. You'll probably hear him in some of these videos because he likes to sit in here. Well, he likes to be in here with me while I'm recording, but he doesn't actually sit down. So you just hear him like walking around and stuff, so I'm just going to get him a bed in here because he has 2 beds already, and he just refuses to lay in those beds. Like, he just wants to be right next to you all the time, which is perfectly fine because I love him so much. So the next one which is number 10. I'm actually going to do 11 just because. Number 10 is that I do not eat meat Monday through Friday. So I am pretty big on trying to help do what I can to be sustainable and help the environment. And the meat industry negatively affects the environment significantly. So that was one of the reasons I stopped eating meat. Research has shown that you're more likely to have cancer if you eat a lot of meat. Like, I love wings, so I might have like wings or something from time to time during the week. Like, I'm not sitting here like saying like I'm perfect or I'm strict about it. I just am aware of what I'm putting into my body, and I'm also aware of how my choices are affecting the environment, and not only affecting the environment but going to be affecting the next generation. Because if we don't make changes, then I'm not going to get into all that. But I don't eat meat Monday through Friday. That's what you need to know. I don't eat meat Monday through Friday. So the last one, which is a bonus. I like to listen to live jazz, which isn't that exciting, but I absolutely love it. I liked listening to live jazz before, but then when I went to New Orleans for the first time, I was like, oh yes, like this is what I need in my life. I absolutely love New Orleans. I love the music, like just being able to go from place to place and they're playing live music and they're actually good. Like, it makes me feel good. I absolutely love it. So those are the 10 things about me. So hopefully you got to know me a little bit. If you have any questions, you can always leave a comment down below. Follow me on Instagram. Send me a DM. I answer all of my DMs. I just want to connect with everybody. But yeah, so I hope you guys got to know me. I'm just going to sit under the dryer for like 20 minutes and then rinse this out and style my hair. So thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Wake, meditate, and slay.